Welcome to Junior Achievement's Our Region program. Through hands-on classroom activities, JA Region helps students to become entrepreneurial thinkers and make them work ready. The JA Region program supports the attainment of academic standards in entrepreneurship with a secondary focus on social studies, geography, business, economics, ethics, reading, writing, and mathematics. The program is volunteer taught and kit-based. It includes 5 45-minute sessions with additional extended learning activities offered throughout. After the program, the students will be able to analyze how entrepreneurs use resources and work with each other to produce goods and services in a community. They will also recognize the skills, tasks, and concepts that an entrepreneur must master to start a successful business. JA's hands-on materials will be your guide in helping you to achieve all of the program goals. On the right side of the screen, you will see a picture of the materials provided for you in the program kit that you will be using throughout the 5 lessons to help the students understand the JA Region program. Let's get started with the first session. Session 1. I am an entrepreneur. The objectives of the first session will be to help students recognize the impact entrepreneurs have on a community or a region and apply traits common to successful entrepreneurs to their own skills and abilities. The first session will require you to use the following materials from your JA kit: the Junior Achievement Banner, 32 table tents for students, 5 key term flashcards, 1 entrepreneurship poster, 4 challenge posters, 32 My Traits inventory cards, 32 entrepreneur eraserlets, and pens and pencils that are not included in your kit. In Session 1, students are introduced to the word entrepreneur by their volunteer. Students will then have to play a fun game of hearing about entrepreneurs and deciding what challenge poster that person belongs under, either sports, entertainment, food, or technology and manufacturing. Students start to identify what impact these entrepreneurs have had in their categories. The volunteer will talk to the students about what an entrepreneur is and what mistakes he or she might make while creating their business or product. After the discussion on entrepreneurship, the volunteer will give each student a My Business Traits inventory card and read the list of traits to the class. Traits include being determined, creative, and experienced. The students will have to circle whether or not they currently have that entrepreneurial trait or if it is one that needs to be developed. The activity ends with each student writing down why positive traits are important to being a successful entrepreneur. At the end of the session, the volunteer will go over the entrepreneurial poster with the class to make sure the concepts of Session 1 are being understood. And then they will hand out the eraserlets to each student, emphasizing that entrepreneurs learn by their mistakes. A best practice for this session would be to bring the traits you have that have made you successful and ones that you are still working on. You can also talk about the entrepreneurial spirit and products within your own firm or organization. Session 2. Regional Resources, a tool for entrepreneurs. The objectives of the second session will be to help the students recognize natural, human, and capital resources, as well as analyze products and services that can be offered by using resources. In the second session, you will need the following material from the JA kit: the JA Banner, student table tents, 7 key term flashcards, 1 entrepreneurial poster, 32 Our Region flyers, 6 resource cards, 1 United States map poster, 32 postcards with magnets, as well as pens and pencils which are not found in the kit. During Session 2, the volunteer will do a quick recap of the first session and then talk to the students about the United States map and ask what the students see on the map. Answers could and should include things like lakes, rivers, mountains, state, cities, and capitals. The volunteer will talk about another way to look at the map. That is by breaking it down into regions. Students will discuss what makes a region and how that might affect states doing businesses with people who live where they do. The activity will involve breaking the students up into groups of 6 and handing everyone an Our Region flyer and giving each group an Our Resources card. Each resource card shows a different region of the United States, and the students must look at their resources and create a business, deciding whether to make a product or create a service. They do this by brainstorming possible businesses that could be started with the resources on their cards. Then they will name the business, create an advertisement for that business. And at the end of the session, the volunteer will hand out to each student a postcard and magnet to be taken home to describe what the students are learning about in the classroom. The volunteer will wrap up the second session by reviewing the entrepreneurship poster with the class again, emphasizing the need to use the resources available when creating a new business or product. A helpful hint is to talk about the goods or services you use and what resources are used in the making of those products and businesses. Session 3, Hot Dog Stand Game. The objectives for the third session are to help students to be able to explain the importance of keeping an accurate account of a business's financial information and track the revenue and expenses of a business and recognize the fundamental tasks required to run that business. In the third session, you will need the following material from the program kit: the J banner, student table tents, 6 key term flashcards, 1 entrepreneur poster, 8 hot dog stand game boards, 1 game pieces pack, 8 dice, 32 hot dog stand money trackers, and 32 business task cards, as well as pens and pencils not included in the kit. The volunteer in Session 3 will start the class by reviewing the entrepreneur poster. The discussion will focus on money and what it takes to keep a customer, and if the students think they have what it takes to run a business. The volunteer will go over the key term flashcards with the class and introduce the group to the business task cards. Every student will receive one of these cards. The cards list 6 key tasks in starting a business. These include paying for the resources needed, treating customers well, and making tough business decisions. The activity in Session 3 has the students playing the hot dog stand game. You will divide the students into groups of 3 or 4 per game board. In the game, the students will go around the board and they will land on spaces where they get to react to scenarios for 5 of the 6 business tasks they reviewed earlier in the session. Once the students record their income and expenses for the first 5 tasks, they will then complete the 6th task, which is to track their money to determine if they've made a profit or loss. A best practice for this activity would be to be prepared to talk about how you use the 6 business tasks in your career and provide examples for each task you mention. Session 4, Entrepreneurs are Problem Solvers. The objectives for the 4th session are to help the students be able to apply the business problem-solving processes and recognize that there are potential risks and rewards to business decisions. For Session 4, you will need to use from your JA program kit the JA banner, student table tents, 4 key term flashcards, 1 entrepreneur poster, 33 problem solver catchers, 33 problem solver bookmarks, and pens and pencils and scissors not found in the kit. In the 4th session, the students will recap the entrepreneur poster and be reminded that in the game they played in Session 3, one of the steps that entrepreneurs have to manage are the ups and downs of a business. To start the session off, students will receive a problem solver bookmark. The volunteer will go over the 5 steps to solving a problem with the students. On the front of their bookmarks, these are listed. These steps include things like describing the problem, making a list of risks and rewards for decisions. Then the volunteer will go over a practice problem with the class as they go through the 5 steps to solve it on the back of their bookmarks. After going over how to solve a problem with the students, they will then each make a problem solver catcher that involves running a lemonade stand. Students will make the catchers and then ask each other questions to reveal different responses about the business. They will open and close their origami piece to see each change in price, advertising, or supply decisions that need to be made for the business. A best practice for this activity is to share some of the tough decisions your business has had to make and what factors you have had to take into account while making those decisions. Session 5, My Region in the World. The objectives of our last session in the Junior Achievements Our Region program will be to help students be able to recognize the interdependence of resource providers, businesses, and consumers, as well as apply the supply chain to the manufacturing example provided. In the 5th session, you will need the following materials from your JA kit: the JA banner, student table tents, 4 key term flashcards, 1 entrepreneur poster, 9 supply chain sticker sheets, 8 supply chain assembly sheets, 32 supply chain flyers, and 32 certificates of achievement and pens and pencils not provided in the kit. In this last session, the volunteer will take the students away from learning about individual entrepreneurship and talk about the complexity of running a large business. Students will be introduced to terms like supplier, supply chain, and interdependence, and they will discuss with the volunteer the process used by big businesses to produce a product by using resources from other regions and other countries. The volunteer accomplishes this by going over the supply chain flyer, showing the students the entire process from getting the raw materials to making the product to purchase, as well as the product and steps in between. The class will then be separated into 8 groups. Students build a computer gathering parts from around the world. Because of a supply chain shortage, one part proves hard to get. Students will learn about the interdependence and the process of trading goods and services with other countries to make a product. At the end of the process, the volunteer leads a discussion on how the supply chain worked by asking questions like, why do you think there are so many suppliers in different countries involved in making a single product? At the end of the discussion, the volunteer will review the main concepts of the program and hand out the certificates of achievement. A best practice for this session is to discuss with the class how the supply chain affects your business or life by using real examples.